Welcome back to Longtime Toolies. You have Kyle here today. So today we are going to start the restoration on a Stanley plane, an old plane. Now, a lot of you know I love old planes. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I just love them. I think they look cool and I buy a lot of them now and I like to fix them up. It's kind of what I do. So today we're going to start on a Stanley number 6. This is a type 8, It was made from 1899 to 1902. Very old, very heavy, weighs like, I don't know, 10 or 12 pounds. And it's got some problems. It's over 100 years old. So obviously it has some problems. One, show you here, there's some pitting on the bed. Not a big deal. This is something that we can work around. It's never going to be perfect. These will never be perfect. If you want a perfect one, you're going to pay up. I think I paid like $40 for this. Number 2 big issue. The tote's broken. See there? The tote's broken. Now they use Brazilian rosewood in these. It's a really hard, really dense wood. And so what we get with those is nice, clean brakes. You can see there, the guy put some electrical tape to hold it together. We're going to take a little different approach. Next thing we want to look at, the front knob. The front knob is in extremely good shape. It's real solid. Everything else, I mean, looking over it real quick, everything else looks pretty good. We're going to start tearing it apart and addressing the pieces. We'll just zip right through this. This here is the frog. See that? It's got an S stamp on it. See the adjuster knob. This one is in pretty good shape. So we got the frog off. Now let's check out the blade. Now what I like about this, I know whoever had this used it. They kept a really nice finish on this blade. And you can see here, see how it's kind of rounded there? They did this on purpose. These look pretty good. There's not a lot of pitting. This has a lot of area left here to sharpen up. The chip breaker, nice and flat, no breaks there. So I like this. This is a good blade. Just a little bit of rust. Now, the obvious problem is this tote. We have a few options. You can buy a new one. You can repair the old one, which depending on your skills, some of them turn out really well, especially if you have a lot of patience and a lot of time. Or you can carve a new one. I carved one for the Stanley number 5. You see here, I carved this out of some mahogany, I think it was. I honestly don't even know what kind of wood it was, but it turned out really well. It's hand carved, hand cut. You can carve a new one. Now I plan on carving a new one just because I don't want to use this, but in order to carve a new one, I still need to glue this one together so I can trace it. We'll do that later. Let's take off the front knob. Okay, we got that out. You can see it was pretty rusted, right? This had a lot of rust. It's been sitting there for, I mean, they probably never took this off. There really would be no reason to. But this, I mean, this is just, look at that. Gorgeous wood, gorgeous. So all these metal pieces, not the brass, because the brass doesn't rust, are going to go into a rust bath. Even the frog. And the bed, that'll go in later. So we have everything apart. Everything looks okay. We don't have any cracks in here. This is a nice, solid candidate for preservation. Now, I have an 8-inch bench grinder with a couple wheels, all sorts of different things. I can polish this up real quick, but not everybody has an 8-inch bench grinder. And honestly, unless you're doing a ton of work, you probably don't even want one. They're big, you won't use them a lot, but you probably have a drill. And if you have a drill, you can buy a wire wheel brush set. So I got this set from Ace Hardware. You can get them anywhere though. Just nice wire wheels. And it's got an 80 grit flappy wheel, sandpaper flappy wheel. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I want to show you guys what these can look like. So Now, normally if you're doing this, you want to wear some sort of a breathing cover, a mask, a respirator, because this is old, this is rusty, this shit will get into your nose and it sucks. So all we're going to do, I'm not putting one on for the sake of the video, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want to show you guys what we're working with here. So we have this down. Okay, just a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, obviously. We probably fast forwarded through it. But I want to show you guys just what that little bit did. That little bit. I did it in the middle. You can see where I clearly stopped. Here, I did it for right about there. You can see, though, we have a lot of pitting. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do. We can lap this flat on a big piece of sandpaper. That takes a lot of time. I won't do that. Right now, obviously. But you can see, just with a nice simple wire wheel, it cleans up real fast, real easy. Now let's show you the sandpaper. Okay, real quick hit with a 80 grit flappy wheel. You can already see the wire wheel just takes dirt off. It doesn't really remove any metal, at least it shouldn't, especially because this shit's hard and the wire wheel will most definitely be softer than this. And then you can see the 80 grit paper just starts to polish it up a little bit. It removes a little bit of metal, not a whole lot, but you can kind of start to feel how smooth it's going to become. So there's that. You can hit these too. See that? That looks really good. We're going to put this in a rust bath though, just to get all this stuff off, get all the little nooks and crannies that I can't hit with a wire wheel. We got our Stanley number 6 type 8 taken apart, everything looked at, everything looks good. Now we're just going to go through and polish everything up. Make everything clean, get all the rust off, soak all this shit, glue this together. That's all we have for today. I just wanted to show you guys what I look for when I take a plane apart, all the different parts and pieces, even though I broke one down in a previous video. Someone asked though, hey, what do you look for? How do you go about cleaning these up? This is how I start. This is how I start. Real simple. I'm not looking to do a miracle here. I just want to preserve this tool and use it, you know, use it. These are useful. All right, toolies, I finished the Stanley number 6. Here it is. See a little bit of pitting on the bottom. I did the best I could with it. Didn't want to remove too much metal, so I just sanded it, started about 80 to get it flat. Went to 120, then 220. That's about where I stopped. See the sides here? Pretty good. Really, I mean, this thing cleaned up really nice. Got the other side, this little mark, little impression stamp from the last owner, or one of the previous owners. That came out, that showed up, so pretty nice. The best part, here's the best part. You remember that tote, right? From a few minutes ago, it was all cracked. I glued it. I glued it back because I wanted to trace it. So I glued it back. I mean, it was a perfect clean break. See if you can barely see it. You can barely see it. So it's held up really well. I'm not even going to carve a new one because this is too pretty to get rid of. The front polished up real nice. I didn't do anything. I just sanded them down. Put some tung oil and a few coats of paste wax, and that was it. Nothing fancy. No crazy finishes, nothing like that. See all this stuff cleaned up real nice? Pretty good. You can make out Stanley and the iron. You can see the brass got polished up pretty nice. You got the brass on top of the handle, the knob there. So overall, not bad. All I really did was sand it down, 80 on the rough spots, then went to 120, then 220, nothing crazy. I haven't even polished it up on my grinder with the buffing wheel. And I just hit it with that. pretty good for 40 bucks in an hour or two. Super happy with it. I feel real good about this one. I've used it. This thing is, I put a nice edge on it. Pretty good stuff. Really enjoy it when they come out like this. Even with the pitting, I don't mind. It's still usable, still flat. Feels real good. So all we got for today. Thanks again. We'll see you guys next time.